Hey everybody, I am it's interesting. I actually intended to never mind. Welcome to Zenny 62 on a Thursday night and starting about the right time, and I'm going to be focusing on a singular topic for the most part, and that will be the Oakland Raiders lease extension. And we do a lot of talking, a lot of speculation, and a lot of answering of questions. And we'll talk some other NFL stuff too. I'm not going to be on too long, but be on a reasonable amount of time. How's that? Uh, it's a big news day all over. My condolences to the victims in the newsroom tragedy. Um, that I haven't had a chance to dig into yet, but I will. Um, and then, of course, Jameis Winston was indeed suspended for 3 games, but I haven't read about the details of the suspension. Um, it looks like he was sort of bullied into admitting that he did something when there's a lot of questionable questionable actions around that. As I said before, foremost among those questionable actions is the fact that the law enforcement wasn't involved. So it's a bit of a shocking society we live in when someone can be accused of doing something and there's no real, truly formal legal process, right? Also, uh, I am behind in getting out the shares for those of you who have invested, and I will do that. I apologize. This has been a very busy period, and my sleep has not been um, smooth. Let's put it that way. But it'll get back to normal. So with that, let's talk about what happened today, focusing on your Oakland Raiders. And in fact, while I'm at it, and I'm talking about your Oakland Raiders and my Oakland Raiders, I'm going to point out that first of all, the Raiders will be in Oakland. Hey, Nick, Mr. Gonzalez, how are you doing? The Raiders will be in Oakland, um, I believe, until 2020. I would be surprised if the Raiders didn't sign that lease, because if they didn't, it would mean they had something else going. Um, and I would be quite interested to know why they didn't sign the lease. Um, if if it came to pass, that didn't happen. I also, this is a for those of you who are in want to be investors. This is a double shares night. I'll post the link. If you post, let's say, $2, you'll get the equivalent shares of $4, or $20, you'll get the equivalent shares of 40. 20 plus 20, right? So this is a good night. It's good. You'll find that it's good to be queen or king or whoever it is you happen to be out there, or want to be. uh, can't believe I just said that. I think I was just being too cute by half, wasn't I? But oh well. Everybody can have fun once in a while. Might as well have fun today. So what I'm doing right now is I'm saying I'm writing on Facebook, join the Raiders live stream here, and like that. And I just posted the link to the live stream. It says join the Raiders live stream here. I should have put Oakland Raiders, but whatever. I think I'll try another way. I'll go over to Oakland Raiders rumors and I'll say the same thing. I'll say join our lively live stream talk about Oakland Raiders lease there, like so. And if I can scroll down a little bit, and then I'll get your comments. Uh, Now, for those of you who, there's some of you who've asked me a really, really great question. And the question is, if the Raiders sign this lease, Does this mean the whole issue of a lawsuit is dead? The answer is no. It does not mean that at all. Um, they're two separate issues, for all practical purposes. And you say, why is that? Well, they're not separate issues. Let me amend what I said, because earlier I did report to you that the Raiders told the JPA basically, "Hey, Malcontent, how are you?" The Raiders told the Joint Powers Authority that if there were a lawsuit, they would stop negotiations on the lease. And so I invited the possibility that such negotiations could lead to um, a lease, but then the lawsuit will be filed. Now, I have it from a very good source. Excuse me. Let me amend that too. I have it from a fantastic source that where are they going to go? If the Raiders file, if the Raiders sign the lease and the city of Oakland files the lawsuit, or rather Jim and Quinn and the company file a lawsuit on behalf of the city of Oakland, where are the Raiders going to go? So there's a full recognition of a perspective that the Raiders will have a difficult time finding an alternative place. And let's face it, if the Raiders really believed they had another better place to play football between now and the completion of the Las Vegas Stadium, they'd have done it, wouldn't they? They would have done it. They didn't do it. Anyway, I was told the meeting to this morning was smooth, cordial, effective was another term that came out of it, and all were in agreement. Now the question is, what were they specifically in agreement to? That is the question. And for that, I don't know the answer. I'm trying to get the answer. I made call after call, email, text. I think all of my normal sources are on to me because I probably did too good a job the last time reporting what the heck was going on, right? That happens sometimes. But you gotta keep, just like in any aspect of life, folks, you have to keep trying. You have to keep swinging that bat. You have to tote that barge and, as they say, lift that bale, right? And that's exactly what I'm doing in this instance. So now, cliches aside, for those of you who are not familiar with this, and I doubt it, you seem like the normal set, but for those of you who are not familiar how we got here, it's very simple. The Raiders have had these little bitty lease extensions, not long ones, and it has come to a point where the latest lease extension happens to be, how would you say it? I wouldn't say interrupted, but I would say perturbated by the fact that the Raiders are in the process of moving to Las Vegas. They're in the process of relocating in Las Vegas. So how do you, in that context, that place has created also an ugly political environment. And that ugly political environment has said, hey, you Raiders tried to hurt us. We're out of here. And so you say you're out of here. We want you to pay us. The JPA says to the Raiders. So that was the idea in the JPA meetings is they were playing these. I was like, hey, Raiders, you screwed us. You owe us a lot of money. Therefore, we're going to have you pay $3.5 million this year, which is what they really do pay for 2018. There was talk of doubling that for the next year and then doubling that for the year after. So let's think about this. You've got $3.5 million, which would become $7 million, which would become $14 million. Woo! Okay, that's the scale. That was the scale. That's what it looked like. Can you say some say that's extortion? But when that term is raised, others say, well, so what? Look what they did to us, right? Fortunately, hey, Barry Lee, how are you doing? I'll get your shares to you. I was talking about you. Fortunately, cooler heads have prevailed, and as I understand it, let me put it this way. When the people that I normally turn to for information come away with the idea expressed to me that everything is smooth in the meeting, then that when I hear that from these particular people, what I get is, okay, that means that this deal isn't something that the Raiders are going to sign. All right, that this deal is something that the Raiders are going to sign, because if the JPA meeting were such that my friend said, oh, we had an argument, it didn't go well, and I don't think this is going to advance, or we had an argument and it's going to go well, we're going to advance it, but I'm not sure about what the Raiders are going to say. That kind of comment will be all I need to know to tell me that if the rent's too high, right? The rent is too high. And I didn't hear that, okay? I heard cordial, productive, effective, smooth. Those are all the adjectives that have been attached to how the special Oakland Raiders meeting went. Okay, those are all of them. And okay, so I'll wait for any questions you have. There are 14 of you, and if you don't have any questions or statements or comments, I'm just going to keep talking because I have a lot to say. It is an excellent opportunity for the city of Oakland to have an active sports presence with the Raiders the next 3 years. Right, I said 3. Because you have this year, then 2019, and then 2020, okay? And so, hey, John, how you doing? And Barry Lee asked the question, how much are they talking about? Well, I don't know this exactly, but from my conversations, I can tell you that right now the Raiders are paying $3.5 million this year, which is a dramatic increase from the $928 million they were paying the previous year. All right. I don't know the parking issue. I don't know the parking issue has been yet resolved, but I would assume that encapsulated within what I was told about today's meeting is some sort of proposed resolution for the parking situation. Because when I talked about it earlier this week and Monday, the word I got was, hey, it's unresolved. Now it's all smiles today. People think they've got a great deal for the Raiders. And so it's going to be, hey, okay, all cool with them, assuming. So I would have to assume that they have roped in some kind of way the JPA board the parking situation into the deal in a way that they are happy with, and they believe the Raiders will be happy with. Now, I know that, so in terms of how much they're talking about, Barry Lee, they're talking about, okay, $3.5 million this year is already a done deal. So I would have to think that they were talking about $5 million the next year, or maybe $6 million, and then I would say maybe $9 million after that. But there was a proviso. The most recent adjustment, language was such that the Raiders would be asked to pay into nonprofits. Now, I don't know how long the list of nonprofits would be, or for that matter, how that list of nonprofits will be determined. But I know the Raiders, as part of this, are expected to agree to pay into nonprofits in Oakland to help make those nonprofits whole. A lot of basically community benefit work in terms of doling out of cash, to, which the Raiders like to do. I mean, let's face it, the Raiders are fond of producing these lists of a giant list of nonprofits they've assisted over the past year or 2 years. I think the list is something like 300 strong. So that is right up the Raiders' alley, and it would give the Raiders an opportunity to leave a lasting legacy of service to the community by giving to the spread of nonprofits. The question is, and I don't know the answer to that yet, is what nonprofits that will be. I have no idea. So Barry Lee, I hope that answers your question, but I will find out. Now, there are other issues regarding, I think, are equally outstanding. Oh, and before I get to that, Malcolmton has a comment. He says, it's interesting that those adjectives were offered by JPA members making the offer, not the Raiders who are receiving the offer. Whether the lease is fair is still up for debate. Well, Malcontent, that's a great point. And hey, Cowboy Wrestler, how you doing? Malcontent, that's a great point. Let me offer this as some additional information, okay, that might help you. Nate Miley, in my video, said that there was a sticking point, and the sticking point was, he didn't tell me this. Someone else told me what his sticking point was, and that was how much they're paying. So I have to put together what Nate said to me on camera with what I was told on camera like that, and I would have to believe that in the context of the morning meeting, that dollar amount was resolved to the liking of everybody. So, I mean, I didn't hear of any reports of fistfights coming out of it. Dang it. Would make it a lot more interesting, wouldn't it? But, hey, Malcolmton says the Raiders' concept of what is fair to the JPA is very open to question. Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. But it's also a test. It's also quite a test. And the test is that, all right, the Raiders might think, okay, if we got them to go this much lower, maybe we can get them to go this much lower, right? But if the Raiders truly have no place else to go, then my thought is the JPA should basically test them and say, if you can't go here, then maybe you should go there, right? But I do think there's also some real danger in not tying this into the lawsuit now that I really think about it. And I say that for this reason. What would happen? The JPA needs the money because what's going on, let me tell you something, folks, all right? Let me give you an idea of just how poorly ran the JPA was prior, okay? Prior, all right, prior to Scott McKibben's reign. It was found something like $400,000 in parking revenue, and Dina McClain, who was the executive director, didn't even know that revenue was there. She didn't know it was to be collected from the Raiders. Okay? I mean, it's stuff like that. Think about what I'm telling you. You have a facility that is worth not millions, but billions. If you look at it from a standpoint, I'm talking about the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, of replacement cost new, worth billions. And you mean to tell me that you don't know how much one of your tenants owes you? Even if you want to take that amount and relax it? You know, it's ridiculous, okay? Let's something else we have to face. The Raiders are not a rich team. They're not a rich organization. If you are in a place where you quite literally have to hide or not pay $1 million in parking revenue, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a cheat. It means that you're broke. It means that you have money problems. It means that for whatever reason, you are not minding your business store in a way that makes you money. And look, and the Raiders have done it in an NFL where some teams like the Cowboys quite literally have made themselves a license to print money, right? So, oh, thank you sending the tweet, Barry Lee. I really appreciate that. God bless you. You soon, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Malcolmton says, negotiation, leverage, we'll see what happens. Tom Caller, hey, how you doing, Tom? Tom says, how much do the Raiders need to make preparations for? How much time do the Raiders need to make preparations for the 2019 season? That takes, in terms of, hey, John Marks, that's a good question. I think, and then Cowboy Wrestler says, Z, are you starting to worry that the Raiders might not be in Oakland in 2019? You know, Cowboy, let me take that and answer that right now, and I'll say this. I don't care one way or another right now because I think it's a fascinating story, all right? However, getting back to the point about Tom Caller's question about timing, it means that you have to have a stadium that is willing to have you at a price you're willing to pay. That's really it. So the question is, how long can that take? It could, that could take anywhere from 1 day to months. 1 day, if the stadium says, hey, we've got space from this date, you say, what price? They say, this price, you say, we're in. Okay? That's really how simple it is. It's not anything more complicated than that. You inform the league, because the league is going to make sure that you are putting their product in a venue that meets NFL standards. But you as a team, you should already know what that is, okay? But also, you as a team will go and you'll have the necessary due diligence, right? You'll have the necessary active work to do that, and you'll do that with the NFL. The NFL has an advanced organization or team, or not an organization, but they have an advanced group, and they would do the site visit, right? So, and I'm asking you, I'm saying, right? Of course I know I'm right, but they would do the site visit. So it would be so it could be a short could be a short amount of time. Now, but it still begs the question. The question simply is this. The question is, what venue out there would take the Raiders at the price that they can afford? I remind you, do you know what the 49ers are paying in rent at Levi? It's $24 million annually. That's a chunk of change. The Raiders, if you think about it, the Raiders have gotten away with murder. I mean murder. Hey, T. Cooper, how you doing? Paying such an extremely low level of rent. But again, it still begs the question. If they are trying to avoid paying a lot of rent money like that, are they squirreling the money away for some estate tax issue? Are they just not successful at making money in the Bay Area? It seems so. What's going on? The Raiders are not one of the more popular franchises in terms of sales, so that, they just aren't. So it brings out more questions than answers. The discussion of why the Raiders have withheld paying rent or given parking money in this instance. Okay, John Alset Kayla says UNLV Stadium is not up to NFL standards. Correct. That's correct. Otherwise, the Raiders would have the Raiders would have been able to use Sam Boyd Stadium. But I don't know if you've ever been to Sam Boyd Stadium, but it takes a lot of alterations in terms of sight lines and upgrade. It's the distance and everything. It just isn't. It's just not ideal. It really isn't. Hey, Bible study, how you doing? And so, T. Cooper, you haven't missed anything. We are blessed to have your good graces. We're talking about the aftermath, T. Cooper, of today's behind-the-scenes, closed-door, closed session, special meeting about the Oakland Raiders lease. That's what we're talking about, okay? And yes, as John Marks pointed out, the champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. John Marks thinks the Raiders are gone in 2019. Well, let's explore that. The only way the Raiders would be gone in 2019 is if they had a place to play. and I don't see them doing that. I mean, let me put it this way: why would the Raiders give up playing at the Coliseum at 2019 for say 5 million, only to go someplace else where they would have to pay 7 million, 10 million, you know, somewhere in there, all right? Because that's what they're looking at. Where's the abundance of places to play that can accommodate the Raiders? Where are they? When you start looking at it from a standpoint of NFL specifications and requirements for lighting, small, all right? And San Diego, John Mark says San Diego. But I say, you say San Diego, I say rent. Okay? Because if the Raiders could get San Diego, they would have to be able to have gotten San Diego for a rent level that they're willing to pay. And what is that rent level? We're talking about the Raiders. The rent level is low. Say $1 million, $1.2 million. If San Diego clocks in at $3.5 million, then the Raiders would undoubtedly say, huh, we might as well stay in Oakland. Okay? Or if San Diego says, hey, look, we got wind that you're going to pay them $5 million, so pay us $5 million. Think about that. They not only have to do that, then there's the cost of moving, because what you're talking about is it's no. The Raiders are already set up at the Coliseum. They have the locker rooms. They've got the electricity. They know where all that is, right? But you got to set up a new locker room. You have to pay for that. You have to hire the staff. You've got to select the food vendors. All of that has to be done in conjunction with the stadium operators. It's not where, I mean, once you sign that on the dotted line, you don't just sit back in your Barco lounger and say, I'm cool. They do all the work. Nope, you got to do some more work. You got to pay for it too. So it doesn't work like that at all. And so, Cowboy Wrestler, am I starting to worry about that the Raiders will not be in Oakland in 2019? You said you got knocked off the line. I will reiterate my answer. I don't care one way or the other. It's a great story. Tom Kohler says they will play in Oakland in 2019, also 2020, and that I believe as well. Unknown Raider guy says, Tom Killer, you are 100% sure they will play in 2020? I laugh out loud. I am. Malconton says Mark Davis cannot afford to move until they truly embrace or relocate to Las Vegas. Their only option might be Levi's, but that'd be too expensive. Plus those red seats. Cowboy Wrestler says, what about Santa Clara in 2019, possibly 2020? Cha-ching! Okay, look, if the 49ers are paying $24 million a year, you think they're gonna let the Raiders walk in for free? Hell no. Not in the least. What they would do, I mean, let's think about it. Think about it. The best case for the 49ers is still not the best case for the Raiders. Because if the 49ers said, hey, look, we'll cut our rent in half and charge you half our rent, that's still $12 million. Okay? So from the Raiders' standpoint, that's still nosebleed. They're better off at the Coliseum and negotiating for a better deal, which I believe they've done at the Coliseum, than what they could get at Levi Stadium. So that doesn't make any sense at all. Plus, again, they've got to move their equipment and get established in a new place and spend the money, or they may have to spend money that's unanticipated, that's based on the way it's set up with respect to their needs. I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because, look, they'll be sharing the facility with the 49ers, and sharing a facility with another team has a lot more to do, that's more important than what color the seats are. There's electricity use, because you bring in another team, the Raiders, which has their own electricity use pattern similar to the 49ers, but it's double. What does that mean? It means that the Raiders are going to cause a higher utility bill, which then they would have to pay part of. So it's not just the rent, or the rent would have to reflect that, excuse me, okay? So Barry Lee says, especially for only 3 to 5 million, I don't think Levi Stadium would take that as a minimum 10 million. Right. So no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. So it I just can't see the Raiders waltzing over to Levi Stadium and just saying, okay, we don't like we're getting the Coliseum. We'll take that deal at Levi. Unless they've got an access to money that, maybe was caused by Donald Trump. Boy, he's out of control. Adam Miles, how you doing? He says hamburger. Okay. I had one the other night. It was good. I don't believe, now, the other consideration regarding the Raiders, hey, Joshua, how you doing? What's up? Is we're talking about the Oakland Raiders' new lease extension proposal that was given its first thumbs up by the Coliseum Joint Powers Authority in a special meeting today. I don't know exactly the details of that, but I do know it was done, and I know how the meeting went because I sniffed around. Kevin KD, how you doing? Kevin says, what access to money do the Raiders have? Are you kidding me? Cowboy Russia says, what about Exposition Park? You mean in San Antonio? Still, the issue is rent, and I don't know what they would be charging for rent. Do you? John says, Akala, I believe, is that how to pronounce your last name? Says, I think he says the Raiders will play in Oakland in 2019 and also 2020. Stadium won't be ready to start of 2020 season, and won't be surprised if there are further delays where stadium won't be ready. That's going around by a lot of people. Again, I'll say this. There is a reason why the NFL did not grant a Super Bowl to Las Vegas. Still the outlier, all right? Malcontent writes, I only referenced Levi Stadium because of the geography. Actually, the Raiders have exactly 0 options before the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Yeah. Well, I can think of one, but it would still cost them something, and I don't know what the Giants would pay or charge them, but AT&T. Can you imagine the Raiders playing at AT&T? I mean, I just popped out of my head, okay? I mean, it was done with the XFL. And if you want to know how that looked, you can always look at XFL San Francisco Demons home game on YouTube and see what that looked like. I'm just throwing out something as a possible bone to chew on, okay? Tom Caller says the Raiders can do what they want, treating the fans very bad, and still the fans will fill the stadium in Oakland. There's some truth to that, Tom. There is that question of what or where the breaking point is for the fan. Kevin KD says, so I guess the Raiders do have enough money to pay for the construction cost overruns after all. I think that the Raiders, well, look, $10 million in the space for rent in over a limited amount of time, 1 or 2 years, is much smaller compared to the billions that, in terms of cost in the Las Vegas Stadium, but also the Raiders believe they're sitting on a financial gold mine and believe they can, pay Oakland now, collect to make that up later from Vegas, right? Now, Juan Ramirez, haven't seen you in a while. Ron says, any word on the supposed how much sponsorship Davis has made to this point? Davis, oh, you mean the naming rights agreement? No, there's no word on any kind of concrete outcome in that area. Now, are they still working on it? I would hope so, but I don't know any details yet. Juan Ramirez says, Mark Davis will never get a cent from me, he says. T. Cooper, the champ, says, I don't think they do, Kevin KD. Kevin KD says, but Tom, caller. But Tom, those fans in Oakland will not follow them to Vegas. T. Cooper says that part, Kevin KD. Kevin KD says, trust me. So I hope that they can drum up plenty of fan interest in Vegas. Okay? Um, I think the Raiders will do okay in Vegas, but I think the first 3 years are going to do well. Again, I've said it before, and now I'm divorcing myself from how I feel about what they did. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The simple truth is that Las Vegas Valley has nothing like what is being built right there at Hacienda and High 15, or Russell Road and High 15, if you like. Nothing. And the only competitive worry the Raiders should be concerned about rightly is MSG Sphere, and the possibility that all of a sudden Jackie Robinson may get extra money and ding, another giant 18,000 seat arena is built, which takes concerts away from, you guessed it, Raiders. How much activity can one city have and hold? We're about to find out. We're about to find out, because Vegas will not only have probably arguably the largest block of hotel rooms in the world, but also the largest ballroom space in the world collectively when the convention center expansion is finished, and then an enormous NFL level stadium to host events in. That is an incredible, enviable place for any other city to want to be in, and Vegas is in it. So now, Corey Brown, how you doing? Corey says, I wonder, have the thought of pulling out of the deal crossed Mark's mind? I would think it crossed Bedane's more than Mark Bedane's more than Mark Davis. And Chi Cooper says, I think Mark might lose his team in Vegas. I've heard that before. Luan Ramirez says, I doubt it. If they have losing seasons, the stadium will be empty. Juan Ramirez says, Davis has sold his soul to Satan. Say that 3 times real fast. Davis has sold his soul to Satan. 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 No. Davis has sold his... I can't do it. I can't. Davis has sold his soul to Satan. Davis has sold his soul to Satan. Davis has sold his soul to Satan. That is a tongue twister. Okay. That's hard to say. Fred Walker, how you doing? Fred says, I'm be in Vegas buying my PSL. But Fred, you haven't bought your PSL yet, right? They are still available. What are you waiting for? Unknown Raider guy says, T. Cooper, how? By the lawsuit? Laugh out loud. T. Cooper, he's saying that to, Unknown Raider guy, I don't think that, no, that's not what T. Cooper is saying. T. Cooper is saying that Mark Davis will not be able to afford the expenses associated with stadium operations and will be forced to sell the team in order to avoid some type of eviction. So that's what he's saying. And Kevin KD says, when the Raiders moved to LA in the early 80s, were they anticipated to succeed as much as they allegedly will in Vegas? Oh yeah, Kevin, they were. But the difference was that it was pay TV, pay-per-view, and not casinos. Then it was, and there's a remarkable similarity there, with one asterisk. The Bay Area economy is arguably doing better than either the Vegas economy now and the LA economy, and that's the difference. When Davis was talking about making his move, yeah, LA was by far the leader in terms of economic performance over the Bay Area. But because of the emergence of tech in Silicon Valley, that has changed since 1982, obviously. Now, good question. John Kala says, how about the parking in Vegas? Only 2,400 parking spaces are going to be available at Stadium. Where is everyone going to park? And that is still an outstanding question, John, because supposedly the Raiders had identified something like 105 well, how many acres? Something like 105 acres of parking. Um, but they never said where it was located because they didn't want people going around and speculatively buying up those pieces of land, right? But they've got until September to work this out. They seem to be taking a leisurely process and going about it, although, well, let me take that back. They're not taking a leisurely process about going about it because of something I heard regarding an original plan to put in high occupancy vehicle lanes at I-15. I think there was a feeling that, hey, they didn't need to do that. Hold on a second, folks. I'm just trying to, I need to make sure that there's something here that's not clicking in there. One moment. It's a battery issue. I got to make sure this doesn't clap back. Hold on. So let me put this in there. And let me do this. Bear with me for one moment. Bear with me for one moment, please. Yeah, there we go. Voila. Okay. Just making sure the battery doesn't go, doesn't fly south, right? Sorry about that, man. I hate when I do that. Sorry about that, folks. But if you feel like you're on the roller coaster ride, hi. And now it's blurry again. Wait a minute. It's let me see. See if it straightens itself out. It is straightening itself out slowly but surely. Let me try something here because I didn't intend for that to happen. Mark says, "Oh, tongue twister." Yeah, that was weird. That was a hard one. Cowboy Wrestler says, "Personally, I believe the Raiders just need to go ahead and move to Vegas and play at Boyd for 2 years." Oh, you're kidding me? No, the NFL won't allow that. As the old saying goes, "By Felicia." The NFL won't allow them that. You wouldn't wish. Let me put it this way: you would not wish it upon your worst enemy to play at Sam Boyd Stadium. Okay, you just would not. You wouldn't do that. It's not ready for the NFL. It's not ready for the playoffs. It's not ready for a night game. It's not ready for Monday Night Football. You can't get adequate amount of lighting in there. It'll be too expensive. You're talking about what? Lighting and preparations and everything. You're talking about what, $20 million expenditure for the season, somewhere in there, maybe more. No, not at all. Why bother? And then on top of all that, you have no guarantee that you're going to get your fan base, right? So, because let me say, you would get a fan base, but not enough for the fan base. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for locker rooms. It doesn't make any sense for equipment. It doesn't make any sense for where you're going to put the halftime equipment. It's just too small, okay? It is quite literally the definition of square peg and round hole. It doesn't work. Unknown Writer says, John Alcala buying other area for parking spaces by the airport across the freeway from the stadium site. You're talking about Bali High. That is not a certainty as an investment as available because of the lawsuit that's hanging over that head and the owner, being in prison. Kevin KD says, I wonder why didn't the Raiders just allow the outright sale of the team to Adelson either now or when Mark eventually decides to sell the team? Well, first of all, it was never clear that Adelson wanted to buy it outright. Okay, A. B. Gambling. And there's an assumption by some that Roger Goodell's been for this the entire time. Ladies and gentlemen, I can specifically tell you that Roger Goodell himself has never wanted an NFL team in Las Vegas. Okay? I'll repeat that. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that Roger Goodell himself has never wanted an NFL team in Las Vegas. This happened because of a ragtag rogue group of owners that feel that the decline in media rights value and payment, therefore, to the NFL and to its teams by extension is being threatened by the decline of media overall from a revenue perspective and the rise of gambling. They feel, hey, look, our horses, and we've heard players referred to as horses, should be such that we can bet on those horses. That is what you are hearing. And there's a group of people who believe, and I am among them, that such a direction for the NFL in the future is a logical step. It's not necessarily one that I am out of the gate of my mouth comfortable with, and what I mean by that is saying it, okay? But when I think it through, when I start thinking about it, then I think, you know what? It is logical. It does make a great deal of sense. It really does. And I meant to sit down and build a model of it. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Kevin KD, who has another one. He says, Kevin KD writes, I won't believe in the potential of Vegas until I see it. And to be brutally honest, I'm not rooting for them out in the desert. Whatever happens to them out there happens. And yeah, I'm not rooting against them. I'm not rooting, for or, well, there's some people I'd like to see succeed. So I'll take that back. I mean, I will. I like to see the economic development apparatus in Las Vegas succeed because I am very much a fan of aggressive economic development. So I'd love to see that work. I really would. Now, Malcolmton says, hey, Cowboy Wrestler, I keep saying pursue the lawsuit to recover the funds the Raiders owe the city and county. If that means they move sooner than 2021, that's fine. And please, double shares night. Heck, I'll make it a triple shares night. Triple, that's right, triple the value. Triple the value. $2 get you 6. $6 get you, wow, 6 times 3 is 18. $6 get you 18. I said it. That's my word. I'm sticking to it. Triple shares night. Yeah. So those of you can go back to making fun of me, as I see. $2. Hey, that $2 buys some stuff, man. Barry Lee asks, I wonder what they would do with Sam Boyd Stadium after the stadium opens demolition. And then Kevin KD. Oh, I got a question for you guys before after I get through these questions, and I really want to know your answer. Fred Walker, you're wrong. Anyway, Fred, you don't even live in Oakland, man. So anyway, cool ass Fred Walker. I'll just preface what I'm about to say with cool ass Fred Walker. There you go. Who I've never met, actually. It'd be fun to meet Fred Walker one day. That'd be a lot of fun. Oh, where was I? Oh, Lord, stop me. Okay. Barry Lee asked that question. And Kevin KD says, UNLV is not even a prestigious program like Michigan, Stanford, Alabama, or Florida, or Gators, or Texas. So why build them in such an expensive stadium in the first place? Well, Kevin, that's political muscle. That's Sheldon Adelson and a number of people in Las Vegas, a lot of power hitters, a lot of heavy hitters who are literally stumping for UNLV, okay? And you have to, if you didn't know, you should be reminded that this effort to get a stadium built was for UNLV initially. And the consultants that are working on this project, most notably Guy Hobbs, have lived with this, have pushed for this for, I would say, about the last 6 years, okay? So this was a case of, I would say maybe 7 years almost. This is a case of, as Guy put it to me one day, the lines crossing properly, the lines between Adelson and his desire to draw money away from Las Vegas Stadium Authority, and this is me saying that, not Guy Hobbs, and the other line being crossed in terms of the Raiders' needs, all right? That's what you're looking at. And then, of course, the UNLV picture being on the side of the ledger with Adelson and Adelson wanting to have a stadium for UNLV, okay? So he just sort of morphed from there. Fred Walker, if you live in Oakland, how come you're consistently pushing against Oakland, man? You're not pro-Oakland. So, Corey Brown says, 2027 conversation, Raiders. Hey, Oakland, we need to come home. Oakland, what happens if Vegas stays in Vegas? That gets the comment of the night right there. That gets the comment of the night. I will repeat it. This comes from Corey Brown. You can grab it. You know what? I think I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna put it out on Twitter. And I'm gonna say from a Zenny 62 YouTube live stream fan, Corey Brown and colon, okay, like that, colon. 2027 conversation. Excuse me, 2027 conversation. There, and hashtag Raider Nation. Excuse me, Raider Nation. There we go. Hashtag Oakland Raiders. Hashtag Oakland. Then hashtag NFL. Got it. Maybe I can add a photograph to that or something like that. That's the comment of the night. That's definitely the comment of the night, and I gotta find the right photo to go with that. I don't want to spend too much time doing that. I'll just heck. Some comments are so good they just stand on their own, and they don't need a photo, So anyway, back to the salt mines here. Now, Barry Lee asks, I wonder what they would do with Sam Boyd after the stadium opens. Demolition? Yes. And so Corey Brown, that was a lot of laughs. And Kevin KD says, Corey Brown, wouldn't that be a hoot? Fred Walker says, Raiders don't owe Sadie anything. Fred Walker, you are 1,000,000% wrong. Okay? Cool ass Fred Walker, but cool ass Fred Walker is also wrong. Just wrong. Raider again says, they kicked the Raiders out yet? Nope. John Alcala says, so the lease proposal has been sent to the Raiders. When do you think they might accept or reject it? We'll know within about 2 weeks, thereabouts, okay? Kevin KD says, Raider Gans, they might as well let the Raiders stay in Oakland for as long as they want. John Mark says, Fred Walker, you are wrong. Fred Walker is completely 1,000,000% wrong. But hey, I'm glad that Fred Walker is here, right or wrong. Welcome, Fred. Still never met you. Just don't be one of those haters that, does the nasty things and all that sort of thing. We've had quite enough of that. Anyway, now, John Mark says, remember, he's pro-Raiders. Well, look, I'm pro-Raiders, but I'm pro-Oakland too, okay? And I'm pro-Oakland Raiders, all right? I'm also pro, you know what I'm really pro? Fair treatment. I'm very much pro good faith business dealing, right? I'm pro all of that. I'm pro not bullying people. I'm pro not being inappropriate to people in business. I could go on. I'm pro all of that. But I'm mostly pro being honest. The Raiders have not been that for the most part. For example, ask yourself this question. Why did Larry McNeil come into the picture? Remember the stadium honcho that the Raiders hired, supposedly? And then what happened to him? No one knows what happened to Larry McNeil. He is the invisible man. What happened to him? Do you know Fred Walker? You talked to Bedane. You try to be eyes and ears for Bedane. I know you. I heard about you. Okay? All right? I know you're out there, man. Yeah, So so Raider Gann says Kevin KD. It's the principle of the matter at this point. Kind of like Dame Dash and Lee Daniels, huh? John Mark says, "Yep, it's time to bring back the Oakland Invaders." Kevin KD says, "Well, the idea of principle is more the concern of the fans instead of the JPA. So don't worry. We'll just deprive Mark of us once he leaves Oakland." Barry Lee says, "Have a good night." Good night, Barry. I'll see you. Very strong. Kevin KD says, "Dame Dash is a crook." Dame, who the frick is Dame Dash? I gotta Google this. I'm feeling suddenly left out of here. Tom Collar says, "Did anybody see the news about the barbecue of Mark Davis with the construction workers in Vegas?" I can look it up. Hold on a second. I can certainly look it up. I can certainly look it up. Let's see here. Barbecue Mark Davis. What was I gonna do here? Let me press that. Boom. Dame Dash. Oh, okay. Oh, Damon Dash. American entrepreneur Damon Anthony Dash, also known as Dame Dash, is an American entrepreneur, music producer, and actor. Dash is best known as co-founder of Rockefeller Records, along with Sean Jay-Z Carter and Kareem Biggs Burke. Man, I didn't know who he was. That's horrible that I didn't know who he was. That's a bad thing. And so anyway, the story is, I should blog about this one. Now I'm glad you told me about this. Dame Dash hits Lee Daniels with a $5 million lawsuit for fraud. Ooh. Ooh. This is according to XXL. Not long after posting a video where he confronted director Lee Daniels about $2 million he's allegedly owed, Dame Dash has now hit the Empire executive producer with a $5 million lawsuit for fraud. According to a report from Deadline, the Rockefeller Records co-founder is now suing Daniels after the director promised to make him the executive producer for a Richard Pryor biopic. Get it in writing, folks. Forget the verbal things. I know verbal promise is illegal in California, but get it in writing, okay? Wow. Wow, all right. Now I know who Dame Dash is. Thank you very much for the tip. I appreciate that very much. I'll follow up on that later. Ding. All right. Now, as Kevin KD just informed me, the guy who was with Jay-Z early in his career when he signed to do Like a Cohen on Def Jam. Got it now. Got it. Got it. In my head, drilled. Thank you. Got it, okay? How stupid of me. I admit that. Okay, Mark Davis and the barbecue. Okay, let's see here. The quick way to find out is to go to Twitter and type Mark Davis Raiders and see if indeed that happened, okay? Because if you go to Twitter and, hey, look at what I found. Woo, right here, all right? Ding, right there. There we go. He's serving barbecue. Okay, there he goes. And that's Ed Graney from the Review Journal who got that, okay? See that? And, hey, hold on a second here. Got a little commentary here.
Right on. No, I'm working for Mortensen. Yeah, cool. A long time. Have you?
Hold on a second.
Yep. No, we're excited. It's going to be very, very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Okay, here it is.
It's awesome. It's going to be unbelievable, man. I know you guys are taking pride in everything you do, so I know it's not going to be a screw on or anything. Right on. No, I'm working for Mortensen. Yeah, cool. A long time. Have you? Yep. No, we're excited. It's going to be very, very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
So there you go. Okay. Now, you know who that guy is? That's Rich Valletta. Rich Valletta. Rich Vallada's of the Review Journal. He's got his pad there. Okay. He was on the show. Remember that? He did the epically long live stream. He's got a little goatee there. I believe that's Rich. Kind of looks like him. Okay. Uh, I believe that's Rich. So anyway, you're right. There you go. Mark Davis serving up barbecue. Um, and yeah, Rich Vallada was there. Aha. Got him greeting construction workers. The tailgate for 700. There you go. So, have the Raiders ever done anything like that for Oakland? No, not in a long time. The last time the Raiders did something like that for Oakland was the Raiders Fan Fest at Jack London Square in 1998. Okay, because I was there. It was the same year that John Gruden was introduced as the coach of the Raiders, the same year that I met John Gruden at the Raiders season ticket holders party. And I have a photograph with myself, Mike Tyson's cut doctor, John Gruden, and Charlie Santana Jr., okay? So, yeah. So basically, yeah. Yeah. No, the Raiders have not, the Raiders haven't taken care of us like that as an organization toward a city. Now, what that means is that he truly likes Vegas. He doesn't like Oakland. Um, that was 11 hours ago, according to that he did this. 11. No, it was today. Yeah, it says, as Grady says, 11 hours ago by Eastern time measurement. Okay, so that says 1:12. So basically, that was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, something like that. Um, so anyway, Kevin KD says a fraudster suing someone for fraud. That's even funnier than Raiders in Vegas. Kevin KD says, I don't know anything about it. Kevin KD says, so did Mark have a barbecue for the JPA for upgrading the stadium and him and Al? No, Mark wasn't even aware. The Raiders have never done anything like that. The Raiders have never said thank you to the city of Oakland for anything. The Raiders have, and this is where I think that when people like Fred Walker say they're fans of the Raiders, I'm thinking, well, are you fans of the Oakland Raiders? Are you fans of the idea of somebody being treated like crap by an organization? You know, that, because that's exactly what happened. And I can tell you, as a person who has had an association with the Raiders that goes back to 1975, 76, and from a business government standpoint has been involved with the Raiders since 1993. The Raiders have never done anything like that for Oakland, save for the Fan Fest. And when the Oakland Athletics had their Fan Fest at Jack London, I thought maybe the Raiders will have one just to say, hey, thank you. The Raiders have only, for the most part, since they returned, threatened to leave in one way or another. They did it in, first of all, when I was economic advisor to the mayor of Oakland Mayor Elihu Harris, in 96, the Raiders were unhappy with the master lease agreement. They were unhappy with the PSL outcome and threatened to seek a change in the lease and a termination of it. The letter that Amy Trask wrote to us, which I got a copy of, I'll be blunt, and I'm not trying to be insulting toward Amy, but I'll be honest. It needed grammatical help. It was very difficult to understand what she was saying, other than she was displeased with the lease. Okay, that's how it came out. It came out like it was. She was definitely angry. Let's get that out of the way. Amy was definitely upset. Okay, but beyond that, she did not use the magic words, "We will leave." All right, but Dina McClain interpreted the letter differently, and on that basis, wanted to file and did file with the city attorney while Elihu Harris was out of town, and I objected to it. Ellie, who's my boss, a first strike lawsuit against the Raiders. All right? So that's how we got into that mess then. But the bottom line is, ever since the Raiders returned, they've talked about leaving at some time. It's never, hey, how can we make the Coliseum better for you? How can we know that you're spending public money? Maybe we can get some private money to offset things. It was always, hey, it's your fault. This didn't go well, and we want out. That's how it's always been. They have made it quite clear that Davis, they've tearfully made it quite clear they don't like Oakland. And, you know, by and large, Oakland's been nice. I say by and large because I don't agree with, you know, some of the things my god sister did. But look, on balance, Oakland's been really incredibly great considering a lot of stuff. All right? I mean, a lot, okay? So, okay? So, and John Marks is like, the Raiders lied. They did. Tom Caller, I like this one. He said, a slab in the face for the Oakland Raiders fans. I like this one. A slab in the face. I like that. A slab in the... Oh, boy. Okay, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do here. This is what I'm doing. Watch this. This is what I'm doing, okay? A slab in the face for the Oakland Raiders fans, all right? Then I'm gonna take the heat for that one. And then this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Okay, like that. Raiders, all right? And then NFL, okay? L, okay? And then Oakland. Like that. Oakland Raiders, okay? There we go, like that. A slab in the face. See that? See that? And then I'm pressing the tweet button. What does that look like? It looks like this. That'd be a heck of a headline. A slab in the face for Oakland Raiders fans. See that? Wait a minute. That's Gal Gadot. There it is. Look. A slab in the face for Oakland Raiders, for the Oakland Raiders fans. There you go, folks. You gotta have fun. Right? Right? Tom Cole says, yep. John Mark says, let them go. John Mark says, Mark Davis is having a barbecue. Let my people go. John Mark says, Fred Walker likes being treated like a dog. Uh-oh. He's poking the bear. Kevin KD says, so they have underappreciated the city of Oakland, have taken repeatedly from the city, and have gotten virtually nothing in return. And we're going to trek to Vegas for him? Really? John Alcala says, you think Al Davis would have been in favor of this move to Vegas also? No, I don't. No, I don't. Absolutely not. No, I don't. No. You know, Mark would have had to talk the father into it because the father is concerned about winning. No. That's not to say he wouldn't have changed his mind, but I can't see him. I can't see it being a slam dunk with Al Davis. No. Kevin KD says that's why I predominantly blame the Raiders. Even if the JPA and the city had its act together, they still would have found some other way to shaft us. Exactly, Kevin KD. Malcontent says, FYI, the Oakland Raiders have been based in Alameda since '96. Yeah, that's an issue for me, too. Something that I brought up a long time ago. Fred Walker says, all my teams will be closer to one another. Who are your teams? You live in Oakland. You should be pro-Oakland, man. But hey, you know, it's a free country, right? Oh, God. Boy, it's a free country. But still, you live in Oakland, be pro-Oakland, man. We need the help. We all as Oaklanders need to come together. point the city in the right direction. We haven't done that. Yeah, I know it's a free country, John Mark. No, look, hey, I know it's a free country. You know? Fred certainly has the right to root for the Lakers? No. Dude, you don't. He said all of his teams be closer to one another. That has to spell the Lakers. That just has to spell the Lakers. Oh. See? Fred Walker says, what? Look at this. This is horrible. Man, I ought to boot you out of here on principle. I'm not going to do it, though, but just because it would be wrong. Fred Walker, Dodgers, UCLA. I say, look, okay, Cal Golden Bears, Oakland Athletics, SF Giants, all right, and Golden State Warriors. I'll raise you those, and I'll see you to victory. My victory. Come on, man. Okay, the Lakers, the other thing I like about Lakers is Jack Nicholson and Shaq. The Dodgers, the only thing I like about the Dodgers is Magic Johnson. UCLA, cheerleaders, that's about it. Fred Walker's, you're an LA boy. Okay. So you're from LA, right? And then you moved up to Oakland? So, okay, if that's the case, okay. I mean, I get it, all right? But you know what I'm talking about as far as the rivalry, Fred. You know what I'm talking about, all right? John Marks says UCLA sucks. He's a Kelso Washington kind of guy. To which I say, go Hope Solo. How about the way Hope Solo called out soccer as being for, quote, rich white boys, unquote. Woo! Had some steam on that one. And Imo Scott says, I'm with you, Fred, minus UCLA. You're USC? Man, I ought to boot both you guys on principle. Golly, this is bad stuff, man. You know, I got UCLA, and I'm Cal. Go Bears. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist. Boy, I'm having fun tonight. UCLA and USC. What? Come on, man. Man. Yeah, John Marks, Randy Newman. That's a good thing. Randy Newman says, I love LA. We love it. I wish I had the rights to that song so I could play it right now. It would almost be worth just getting the copyright claim slammed on me just to hear Randy Newman, fire up. We love LA. Oh, man. Kevin KD says USC colors are not as nice as Cal. No, not at all. Hey, Cal has Allison Stokel. Cal has, Natalie Coughlin, right? Boy, oh boy. How about Alex and Christy Kaufman, gymnastics, and all these great Cal stars, man. Wow. Alex Morgan. How about Alex, right? I've interviewed Alex. Great. When she was on the champion Olympic bound U.S. soccer team. Met her at CES. Great interview. John Alcala says, so since Al Davis would not have been in favor of Vegas move, what do you think he might have done? I think that what he would have done is not... I think he really focused on getting a serious deal done in Oakland, and he would have been more vocal about the lack of direction he was getting from the JPA. You would have had a clear signal from Al Davis that things were working right or wrong. He wouldn't have been sneaky about it. Okay? That's the difference. See, what people don't know or remember, because a lot of you weren't around then, was that the dispute between the Raiders and the city of Oakland and the NFL was real, and it was in your face, and it was blood, and it was obvious. And it was basically like this. The Raiders say, hey, look, You're not treating us right. We're going to move. The NFL and Oakland saying, you can't move. And the Raiders said, I can move. Watch me. Okay? That's how it was. The situation today is nothing like that. Nothing. Al Davis, implicit in my example is this. Al Davis asked for what he wanted. When he was told he wasn't going to get it, he said, I'm moving. Mark Davis didn't do that. Mark Davis said, hey, I want to stay in Oakland. I'll pretend like I do. Meanwhile, I'm not telling you I'm talking to Las Vegas, but I'm talking to them. Okay? Al Davis didn't do that. Al Davis did not do that, okay? So no, he would not have done that, all right? At all, okay? ML Scott says, I support Cal as head basketball coach, a whole buddy. I support Ms. Gottlieb, Cal women's basketball coach. And Kevin KD says, I feel like Mark is actually savvy in ways that Al wasn't, but it's unfortunately made power moves to completely cut Oakland out in the long run. I don't know if I call that savvy. To me, that's not savvy. If you trick people, it's not savvy. If you're honest with them, if you make moves that cause you to spend a little money to gain a lot back, that's savvy. But this is not savvy. Kevin KD says, at least Al understood the value of California to the Raiders. Mark just plain does not care. Okay? And no, he doesn't. He likes Vegas. He's made it clear. How many times and how many examples do you have to see it? He likes Vegas. He doesn't like Oakland. Okay? Octavio, how you doing? Heck, I'm not ignoring you at all. You just weren't here, man. How you doing? Man, what's new with Octavio? Golly. Tom Collins says, oh, Lord, UCLA cheerleader. I didn't know they had some, but thanks. This is great stuff. Hey, but folks, I am, just for reasons of needing, gonna sleep. Gonna shove off in about 10 minutes, okay? And we'll be back on Sunday. John Mark says, hey, Octavio Arias, how are you, bro? And how are you, bro? Let's have an Octavio Fest right now for the next 5 minutes. Octavio, what's happening? How's the kid? How's Central America? What's the deal, man? What do you think about the Raiders this year? Hey, good night, Tom. We'll see you. What do you think? To which Octavio says nothing. Octavio says, I don't know. Wait, where is he at? Octavio. Oh, Octavio, I'll bet you Octavio's having a beer, right? Yeah? Octavio says, sad about Panama being disqualified. It is. It's also sad that I haven't, starting now, tonight, I'm going to watch World Cup and get caught up. Germany got eliminated yesterday. I think I'm salty because the United States isn't in it. I'm like, man. So Malcontent says, I'm curious to hear what the Oakland City attorney thinks about this possible lawsuit against the Raiders franchise. They should be embarrassed that they dropped the ball. Agreed. I'll find out. Corey Brown says, the Bay Area fan put food in his belly and he dumps on us? Sounds very ungrateful. Well, Corey, let's make it even worse. The Bay Area fan not only put food in his belly, arguably the Bay Area fan put barbecue in his belly, but he's putting barbecue in the Vegas fan's belly. It's kind of how it's working, right? Right? Octavio Arias is worried about Martavius Bryant. Hey, man, I hear you. I'm worried about Jameis Winston, man. I hope he comes out of this shining. But he got a suspension. 3 games is 3 days. Yeah. Corey Brown says he starves us so that he can feed Vegas. Yeah. Octavio says, is Oakland going forward with a lawsuit? Question mark, question mark. Big letters. We are waiting. Okay? In other words, I am told it's going to happen someday soon. Once the city of Oakland gives its final approval, then boom. When the final approval will come will be about another month. Okay, so there you go. About another month. All right. So there you go. Okay. About another month. Octavia says, I hope it comes soon. Thanks for the update. I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. And by the way, hey, Octavia, it's a triple shares night, so, oops. You know, I said invest a slab in the face for Oakland Raiders fans. You can. That's funny. That's what I wrote. You know, I didn't mean it that way, but I'll remove that. That's funny. Stanislaw says, is Oakland suing the Raiders? And to which I respond back with, they say they are, I just don't know when. Okay? So, yeah. Business is kind of slow. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. Oh, boy. I hear about business being slow. So, hey, look. If you only invest $2, great. You still get triple shares. Or if you invest in nothing, you invest in nothing. That happens. But you're not investing in nothing because I'm something. This is something. This whole thing is something. In fact, hey, look. While I've got you all on here, I want to show you something I'm very proud of to show you all who think this is, you know, just not going anywhere as an exercise or whatever, or, you know, not really media, is all that grab, right? That stuff, right? Okay. You think all that stuff? Let me show you something here. All right. Let me, what I've done here is look at this. I've typed in Google, oops, excuse me. I've typed Oakland Raiders lease, right? This is in Google, as you can see. There's the results, right? All right. But if you want to know what the latest news is, okay, if you scroll down, look at that. Who's that? Zenny62, Zenny62, Zenny62. And if I keep scrolling, what else do I get here? Ooh, Zenny62, Zenny62, Zenny62. Oh my God, it's more me. Okay? But, all right, if you think that's, but hey, but that's not all, folks. Watch this, okay? Watch this. Boom. We go up here, right? Oakland Raiders lease, right? So we click on Oakland News Now blog. Oakland News Now blog. Oakland News Now blog. This is Google News. Oakland News Now blog. Oakland News Now blog. Oakland News Now blog. Oakland News Now blog. And then Las Vegas Review Journal. And then CBS. And then Oakland News Now blog, right? So to which you're wondering, what the heck is the Oakland News Now blog? And I'm saying, hey, look, it's my newest blog, Oakland News Now. OaklandNewsNow.com. All right. So like I say, so those of you who think, hey, he's not part of media, well, sorry to inform you, sorry to upset you, sorry to disappoint you, but you're wrong. We've got it coming and going. Dominated the results. And it's so cool. So this is what your investments have helped build. And if you want to be a vlogger on here and get your name out, all right, hey, okay. Oh, Canon, thanks. So, so you see Octavio? You see how far this has all come? It took a lot of technical doing to build that blog. The blog I just showed you is just a little over 4 months old, okay? And it's an Oakland blog, Fred Walker. All right? And no, I'm not using Patreon. And the reason I'm not is I have my own blog. And you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, John, because the one thing that I really I find disgusting. Oh, Ivan, hey, Ivan, I'll get to your question in a second. I'm sorry. Thanks. And I'll get to your question in a second. But is that how people rely on Facebook to put all their stuff that they would normally put on a blog and make their own money? But look, it's my platform. I don't have to worry about somebody else coming to it. It's mine. I don't want to be on Patreon. Patreon, it means I'm giving traffic to somebody else. That's mine. That's mine, okay? It means I have to write content for Patreon just like you have to write content for Facebook, okay? No, I have my own. I have 98 of them. 98. Why do I need Patreon? Build your own blog, man. All right? Now, enough of that. Let me get back to my point, or your points. Like I said, I'm looking for bloggers. You want to sign up in blog? Ultimately for pay right now, no, just to fill ideas, fill space. And but what I want to do is kind of like how Bleacher Report started out. I want a team of folks that blog, and then we can make the money. We have that team, and then we can bring in the funding. Okay, that's how Bleacher Report started. John says, will Oakland Raiders agree to lease extension even though they know lawsuits pending? And well, the people I talked to are planning to say where the Raiders going to go. Corey Brown says, I saved the interview on YouTube. A Vegas sports channel host in Mitz Bedane told him several years ago the Raiders are coming. Corey, can you send that to me by email? My email is zinny@zinny62.com. Here's the email, zinny@zinny62.com. Okay? And it is now 1:36. I better shove off the Buffalo. Any stadium news on the A's? Not yet. Check Oakland News Now for the latest on that. Okay? All right? So, yeah, John, you need to start your own blog. Go to blogger.com. All right, folks, I gotta get out. Literally. If you haven't seen the movie, see it. Good night, everybody. I am fading fast. Good night, everybody. I'll see you. Good night. Good night. Watch horror films. Keep America. Good night. See ya.